Hey everyone, I'm back again for another life update on my no alcohol for 2024. Now, we're currently sitting at day 297, about to hit 10 months of no alcohol. So I thought I'd bring it back and speak a little bit about my reflections on the last 10 months. So come along. All right, so first one, I would have to say been doing a bit of reflecting, and throughout my early 20s, uh, there's this thing I've been reading about, which is called the victim mindset or the victim mentality. And this one I sort of related to very well because I was going through this when I was 20, 21, 22. I was going through a time when a lot of other people around me were getting certain things, people being successful, people getting new jobs, people getting contracts, that sort of thing. And I got myself into this thinking pattern of, I wasn't good enough. Maybe, I should be getting those opportunities as well, but I'm not getting them. So I kept asking myself, why? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not good enough? Well, what's wrong with me? So then I got sort of stuck in this pattern of being a victim or having a victim mindset. So looking back now, it's just, I laugh at it. It's just funny because it was just a waste of time and energy, really, thinking about myself that way when all I should have been doing really was just thinking about, instead of the destination or the end goal or the end result, thinking about the process on how to get there. So that's one thing. Looking back now, I wish I had done. A lot of people talk about not having regrets in their life. I think that's fake. You're gonna have mistakes. You're gonna have failures, and those are some of my biggest regrets. And so that's number one. Number two, reaction to setbacks and injuries. So this is a big one because all throughout my childhood, when I first got to Brisbane, I was a soccer player. So a lot of my friends at school were playing rugby, and that's how I got introduced to playing rugby. And then found out I was actually pretty good, pretty decent. And for a long time there, it was a big part of who I was, where I wanted to be. I had a goal that I wanted to play some sort of professional footy, and I did play some semi-pro footy with Papua New Guinea, which I'm very proud of. Still one of the biggest highlights of my life. But I think during that whole process, there were lots of injuries and there were lots of setbacks. The setbacks being those injuries, two meniscus tears, one when I was in high school, one out of high school, and then an ACL injury as well, straight after my Colts 1 season. And then a few other injuries with a surgery on my metatarsal, surgery on my metacarpal, and a few other minor ones. So hamstring tears, all those other soft tissue injuries. But I think the biggest thing when I look back at those points now is how I reacted to getting those injuries. Instead of being positive or uh, active on recovery after those injuries, I decided to, pick the negative and go and drink, do drugs, whatever it was to sort of numb the pain. And looking back at it now, like I said before, it's just so funny to look at that and think that that was what I was thinking. Um, like after I did my ACL, you'd think the first thing you'd do is go get in an ice bath or go to the hospital, but the first thing I did was go to the bottle shop and purchased alcohol, and then I went out that night on one knee, which is crazy to imagine, but that's just that just explains the place I was at, um, with setbacks and injuries. So, I mean, looking at it now, if I had to do it again, I would, definitely would have chosen to do some sort of active recovery, speak to my physio, speak to, someone, a doctor, anyone that could help me, and then put in those actions in place to get me back on track. But unfortunately, at the time, that didn't help. And now I'm still trying to get my knee right, which, those things caused them. So this year was all about getting the knee right, getting the foundation set, and by drinking no alcohol, that has definitely helped. Number three, overcoming overthinking. Now, this one is one of my favorite ones because I think it ties in that victim mindset or victim mentality, and also the reaction to setbacks and injuries. And throughout growing up, especially in my early 20s, I would say there was a lot of overthinking. What is this person thinking of me? What are they going to think of me if I do this and do that? And just, it all just gets so much. And like, like a jar, when you fill it with sand, if you get to the top, it's going to explode at some point. So I think that's what happened to me. That's what I went through. I got to a certain point where there was just so much overthinking, only because of the pressure and stress that I put on myself. Thinking, what would my friends think of me if I did this, or what do my parents think of me if I didn't graduate university? There was just lots of pressure that I put on myself to try and able be try and and trying to be, I guess, the person that that I pictured myself to be. But looking back now, as I said on the other two before, it's all just really funny. The things you go through when you're younger. Now there's less overthinking. I try not to think about as much as possible. Big thing that has helped with that is, not watching the news. I hardly watch the news now, and I just go about my day. I also have become a little bit selfish with what I want to do in my own time, whereas previously I was a big yes man, so saying yes to everything. Someone would message here, someone would message there, and then you're saying yes to them, you're saying yes to them, and then you've got two things on a Saturday afternoon and you're trying to be present at both. Like, that just takes so much time, so much energy. Whereas now it's a lot easier to say no, and saying no for the right reasons. I think if you've got something on the next day that's important, it's easy to say no and then go to that. Whereas when I was a lot younger, say if my family were flying in from Port Moresby on a Sunday, I'd go and have a big night and just write myself off. And then I wouldn't be there present mentally on the Sunday, which, when I came to that realization, that just sucked so much because, like, that's your family and they're flying here to see you. But, you've chosen to go and drink all night, and then you are there on a Sunday, but, your mind isn't there, which, it's sad. So, look, if you're someone who's in that position now, just think about those people. I mean, at the end of the day, they are the people that care about you and love you. So you want to be present at all times. So, going off what I said previously, about saying no and having the confidence to be able to say no, because you're in a different place now, and you know you've got things or priorities that are more important than, drinks on a Friday night or drinks on a Saturday night, and actually thinking about, what those things are going to do to elevate you to get to the place you want to be. I think that's really important, and I think that was the whole reason. And this is the last point now, but that was the whole reason of why I wanted to take a year off drinking, because I think, looking back at it, drinking sort of has always hindered my progress. Whenever I got to a certain point, there would always be one night that would, damage everything, or sort of put me back a couple of weeks, or put me back a couple of years, and then I'd have to reset and go again. Whether that was, in my young days, like getting arrested, or that was, um, going out and then breaking up with your partner or something because of what you did. Like all those little things were brought on by alcohol or alcohol consumption. So the one step or one decision I wanted to make before I entered 2024 was to not drink for the whole year, just to show myself that I could go the whole year without consuming alcohol. But I could also use this year as a foundation year or a platform to be able to help me get back to where I need to be in order to grow and accelerate that growth. Um, so I think so far it's been a big year. It's been a massive year. Probably one of the best years of my life, I would say. Being able to get through the challenge of, everyone saying, oh, you're not going to get through this, or it's going to be really hard for you to not drink. And then getting to like the 6 month mark, and, now it's getting a bit easier. You don't really think about it as much. Um, those little challenges have really, shaped my decision making and the person I am today. I mean, all of you have heard a little bit about, the trials and tribulations I went through in my early 20s there. And, this year was about trying to fix them and focus on myself, get the knee right, get your mindset right, so that, moving forward, when I get into my 30s, I can be, a strong man. Yeah, I think that's the word. I think that's the word. But if there's anyone out there and you're feeling like you don't know where to start, or you can't say no, um, happy to have a chat and message me or whatever. Uh, you know, I think going through this whole process now, it's just shown me that sky's the limit. Really, as cliche as that sounds, everyone says that, but anything's possible. And I'm sure you guys would have seen it with the podcast and the amount of time that we're putting it in. It's because I have all the time on the weekends now to actually work hard on it. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who's sort of been following the journey, following the progress, following the uncles as well. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your following, and there's some big things to come for us. I can feel it. I know it. And, the uncles were going to be a big thing. But yeah, to finish off, only 2 months left. I will be going back to drinking, and hopefully it will be, you know, at a level where I can enjoy drinking with my friends. That's something we're going to practice come the first month, which is going to be January or January 1. So I'll bring you along the ride for that as well. But look, thank you once again.